Good evening, guys. It's good to be here with you on another video. I just wanted to give you guys a little demonstration to show you kind of what some of our families face here in Guatemala, what a lot of the people face here in Guatemala. 75%, that is 3 out of every 4 people in this country, live in financial poverty. And so I just want to give you a little demonstration to show you some of the real struggles that Guatemalans face, and then tell you a little bit about how our SARF ministry is able to address some of those needs. So we're going to just imagine for a minute that we have a family of 4. I'm sure a lot of you have a family of 4, a mom, a dad, and maybe one brother or sister. So a lot of the families here are actually families of 5 or 6 or 7, so this would be even more difficult to do. But we're going to, for this demonstration, we're going to go off of a family of 4, and we're going to say that just the dad has a job because he's been lucky enough to find work cutting coffee in the fields. Now, it's really hard because half of the year it's raining all day, and sometimes he can't work because the fields are flooded out. But when he does have work, we're going to say he works 5 days a week. And so doing this, cutting coffee all day for 5 days a week, is going to pay you about 50 quetzales per day. That's about $6.50. And so, if we do a little math here, multiplication, 50 times 5 is 250 quetzales for the week. I'm going to go ahead and count out that money for you now. So here we go, 250 quetzales, 100, 150, 170, 190, 210, 220, 230, 235, 240, and then I have 10 quetzales in 1 quetzal coins. There are 10 of them. So 240 plus 10 is 250 quetzales. Now that sounds like a lot of money, but you're going to see just how fast that money disappears with this demonstration. So, the average family, when they cook their meals, they use leña. It is a special type of wood that they will cook with. If they are, they don't have a gas grill necessarily, although that is available. But most families, it's difficult to buy because when you buy the propane tank to begin with, it's really expensive. So they just use leña so they can live week by week. And so you're going to use about 20 quetzales with your leña. So 250 minus the 20 quetzales that you use for your week's worth of leña, you're going to have 230 quetzales remaining. Okay, I'm going to take out 20 quetzales here. Now we've got 230 quetzales. Now, if I want to run electricity in my house just for basic things, it's going to cost me about 15 quetzales per week if I live in a small house. So 230 minus 15 quetzales will leave me with 215 quetzales. Taking out 15 from our stash of money for the week. Now here's where it becomes a little bit pricey. If I don't want to send my kid to a school that has 80 kids in the classroom, but a school that's a little bit better, I have to pay for it. No schools here are really free. So to get a cheap school that is going to be a little bit better of an education, I'm going to pay for a month about 200 quetzales per kid. Now remember, I have 2 kids, so 200 times 2 kids is 400 quetzales for the month. But we're not doing things by month here, we're doing things by week. So let's divide it out. 400 divided by 4 equals 100 quetzales per week. That's what I'm spending per week to send my kid to school. Now, I'm taking out 100 quetzales, and 215 is what I had. Now I take away 100, I've only got 115 quetzales left for the week. Well, I've got to pay for my house, which costs 300 quetzales a month. Divided by 4 weeks, I'm paying 75 quetzales per month to live in a house like this. Just going to clarify one thing, and that is that the rent for that house that you just saw would be 75 quetzales per week, not per month. Per month it's 300, but per week 75. And since we're doing everything per week, we had 115 quetzales left. Once we take away our 75 quetzales, we're left with 40 quetzales for the week. That's about a little over $5. I'm going to take out, remember, we haven't had anything to eat yet. I'm going to take out 75 quetzales, 50, 75. I've got 40 quetzales left for the week. So, what Guatemalans usually eat is beans and tortillas. Esther's going to show you the beans.
Here are some beans.
That's going to run you about 4 quetzales per pound.
And here are the tortillas.
And the tortillas, you can get 3 large tortillas or 4 small tortillas for 1 quetzal. So, Guatemalans will usually try to get 2 or 3 quetzales per meal so that they're able to have 2 tortillas with their beans. So, we are buying, for the whole week, 5 pounds of beans. Now, 5 times 4 is 20. And we had, remember, 40 quetzales remaining. Once we subtract the 20 quetzales, we've got 20 quetzales left. Since lunch is the most important meal here, unfortunately, if Guatemalans don't have much money, they eat only lunch and nothing else. Or they'll eat 1 meal today and they won't eat tomorrow. And unfortunately, that is how it works, because you don't have enough money to go around to cover everything. And so after we've bought, we're going to say 2 quetzales per day of tortillas times 7 days a week. That's 14 quetzales. 20 minus 14 leaves us with 6 quetzales. And I'm going to take out 14. Forgot to take out my 20. Taking out 14. There's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. 14. Now, I've got 6 quetzales left for the week. Well, I'd really like to eat more than just 1 meal a day. So let's try to figure out what we can buy for 6 quetzales. 1 pound of rice is going to cost me about 4 quetzales. I could buy 1 pound of rice and still have 2 quetzales left. This is all I have, remember, 6 quetzales. Eggs, we could do eggs. Eggs cost about 1 quetzal each, so we could buy 6 eggs. And maybe we could have eggs for breakfast for 2 days out of the week. We can't buy apples because 5 apples cost 10 quetzales, and we don't have 10, we only have 6. We could maybe buy 3 apples. We have 4 ears of corn. That's going to cost me about 7 or 8 quetzales, so that's not going to work.
Look at these.
How about milk? A liter of milk is going to cost me about 12 quetzales, so that's out. What Guatemalans would really like to buy to have with their dinner, if they have leftover beans, they'll eat that for dinner, would be plantains. Now plantains they look like a banana, but really they are quite different. They taste different. Guatemalans usually fry them in oil, or they will boil them in water, and they're very good for you. But 6 of them is going to cost me about 10 quetzales if I get a good price. A dozen bananas, about 7 quetzales. And so as you can see, it's really hard to live on this. And I share with you that beans and tortillas are the main staple foods here in Guatemala. So check out this video on how tortillas are made.
Mi nombre es Elizabeth. En Guatemala hacemos las tortillas así. Cultivamos el maíz en nuestros terrenos y el maíz lo ponemos a cocer con cal. Ya cuando digamos ya está frío, entonces lo lavamos y lo llevamos al molino. Ya traemos la masa del molino y ya la ponemos en la piedra que es nuestra máquina de moler. La molemos y todo, y ya cuando ya están las masitas sacadas de la piedra, nos ponemos a tortearlas para que las tortillas nos salgan bien maniditas, esponjaditas, para que no nos salgan así tiesas. Las hacemos de esta manera, las palmeamos y ya tenemos listo un canastito con unas servilletas para ponerlas ahí, las jateamos bien jateaditas para que no se doblen. Y ya están listas para venderlas o para el consumo del hogar. Las tortillas de Guatemala son las mejores tortillas porque las hacemos con mucho cariño, porque son palmeaditas y por eso son las mejores tortillas del mundo, más que todo.
We decided that with our 6 quetzales that we still have left, we're going to buy 1 pound of rice for 4 quetzales and 2 eggs. So all we have for the week is we have lunch every day. We have beans and tortillas for lunch. That's all we've got for lunch. And then for the rest of the week, we can have 2 eggs and 1 pound of rice. Oh no. Ugh. You know, my stomach has been bothering me. I got a parasite. And I've had diarrhea all week. Well, it's going to cost me 250 quetzales for medicine to take care of this. And we don't have any money left. Oh no. Well, I guess I could just go with diarrhea the rest of the month, and hopefully next month we'll have some more money so that I can get checked out by a doctor. Oh! Ooh. Hold on, I'll be back. I gotta run to the bathroom.
Uh-oh. Which SARF stands for Serving At-Risk Families. So servants will help the family by helping with their medical needs so that Casey doesn't have to keep having diarrhea. We would help the family go to the doctor and get the right medicine and get all of their tests that they need done so that he doesn't have to be sick anymore.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel a little better.
Yeah, that's good. Also, SARF would help with the kids' schooling, and so instead of them having to pay that 100Q, if servants pays for that 100Q through the sponsorships, then they don't have to pay that, and they can use that money towards buying maybe some plantains, some other food, towards other things, costs that come up during the month. So we help them out in areas like that so that they are able to provide better for their families and for their children. Another thing that we do with some families who don't have enough money for food, and like Casey was showing you, they only eat beans and tortillas and maybe a little rice or eggs, we will help them with nutrition baskets each month. And we will put in fruits and vegetables, maybe some of the apples that they didn't get because they didn't have enough money, or some corn or broccoli or other things like that, yummy vegetables. And we will give that to them each month to help them, because a lot of kids here get anemia, which is when you don't have enough of your vitamins and iron and all of that, you get really sick and they're not malnourished and don't have enough food. So that is something that we help with as well. And then other donations come down from the US to Guatemala too, like vitamins. Sometimes we give the chewable vitamins to kids that come down from the US. Sometimes we get formula that comes down that we can help with babies who don't have milk to drink, and other donations like that, like toothpaste and toothbrushes, things like that.
Thankfully, our family now is being sponsored, and so now I don't have to choose between having food and having diarrhea. So thank you so much for not making me make that choice, and thank you for loving on all the families that we serve here and that we love here in Guatemala by sponsoring them, by doing awesome things like this and raising money so that we're able to provide some of these services that we provide so that they aren't left in crisis. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. We love you. Thank you.